There we go. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the School District of Osceola County's scheduled strategic plan update workshop for Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. This will be led by Dr. Michael Allen, Chief of Staff of Human Resources and Student Services. I want to open it up to Dr. Shanoff real quick if there's anything you'd like to say to get us started before Dr. Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I wanted to take a moment and thank, number one, the school board for taking the step to develop a strategic plan unlike any other you would see in K-12. This is a new approach in K-12, one that combines all of the various entities together around these value drivers that the board has identified as essentially the anchors of how we operate this organization. And I'm very gratified to work with such an amazing team. Many of them are here, and so grateful for them and everything that they do to make this work. Certainly the person that is taking the lead on this needs no introduction. Dr. Allen, when presented with the challenge of making this strategic plan a go, has really kind of dove in to the deep end and has worked extremely hard with all of our goal leads, all of our departments, to ensure that we are indeed moving in the same direction and that we are continuing to work through some fairly audacious goals that have been established. And so I'm just very proud of the work that's been done so far by every member of the team, and it does take 8,000 folks to make this work.
Thank you, Dr. Shanoff, and thank you, Board, for this opportunity this afternoon to provide you an update on our district strategic plan. As you are all aware, back on January 21st of this past year, this board approved a 3-year strategic plan. Like Dr. Shanoff alluded to, very unlike any strategic plan that we've had before in the cross-functionality in nature. So you will see that our goal leads come from different houses among our departments, but in doing so, it brings better generated thoughts, innovation, and ownership into the strategic plan. So I do thank Dr. Shanoff for his vision of thinking differently and doing differently in Osceola County. And then back on June 24th of this school year, this past school year, we provided you a progress update relative to year 1 of the strategic plan, which really ended up only being a half year. But based on that data, as well as your input and guidance during that workshop, you will see the document in front of you that now defines our direction for year 2. And just a note, there are 2 documents that you have in front of you. One is the strategic plan bounds, and then you also have some information about academic success that Dr. Clayton is going to be speaking to in just a few moments. Just kind of as a reminder, our strategic plan is pillared upon 5 value drivers: engagement, alignment, community, achievement, and culture. There are leads and cross-functional leads for each one of the value drivers. So with that said, I'd invite you to turn to page 2 of the document with me. Page 2 of the document, again, outlines our value drivers, the leads, co-leads, as well as a purpose statement for each one of the value drivers. It defines the work of the certain area. And in addition, on page 2 are the activities that help us to progress in each one of the value drivers. Now, these are certainly not all the activities that propel the work forward, but these are the highest leverage and biggest activities that we have that work towards each one. By and large, the activities have remained the same and were consistent with what you saw both in June and approved in January. There are a couple of exceptions that I do want to bring your attention to. So you look in the column of alignment, the second value driver, alignment. At the bottom of the third bullet, relative to increasing ROI on allocation of resources, zero-based school budgeting is something we're embarking on and planning for next school year. And then the last two bullets, both in alignment, having to do with our AI plan that we are currently developing, as well as quarterly facility utilization reviews. Those are new activities as well, and Ms. Graber, Mr. Sharma, and Mr. Thorne actually are going to be speaking a little more to it in a few moments. So I just want to bring those to your attention. And then the final new activity is under achievement, and the last bullet having to do with the recruitment plan that we are developing in human resources, including traditional and non-traditional methods of recruiting teachers for our classrooms. We have seen a decline in the number of vacancies that we have starting the year over the past 4 years. However, we have plateaued at this point, so we were really trying to think outside the box and employ some things that we have done in the past and also some things that we haven't tried before, so we're excited. All right, with that said, I invite you to turn to page 3, which defines our key performance indicators, or as we refer to just simply KPIs. Now, this is a big picture, one-page look at the KPIs. Now, the remainder of the strategic plan is dedicated to where we were in year 1, what we want to achieve in year 2, and then some next steps and strategies of how we're going to get there. And this is where we're going to spend the majority of the workshop. So before we dive into engagement, are there any questions or comments thus far? Okay. I'm going to invite my co-lead for engagement, Dr. Berry, up to the podium with me. I happen to be the lead for this value driver. The first KPI has to do with responding to emails, phone calls, any correspondences within 24 hours. That's the expectation for departments as well as all school communications. The best measure that we have for this KPI is our Let's Talk platform. In year 1 results, as you can see, we had a customer service score of 8.1 out of 10 and a dialogue age that was well beyond our expectation of 24 hours of 3.4 days. So the goals for this year are 8.4 customer service score and limiting to 3 days on average. Current data, as of today, we've had 3,675 Let's Talk dialogues. We have a customer service score of 7.5 currently, which is not where we want it to be, but the metric that we have more control over, our dialogue age, is trending very well right now at 1.1 days. So almost to that 24-hour turnaround.
Can you repeat, what did you just say, how many days?
1.1.
1.1,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, and some things that we have done to help increase is continue to convey the expectation of 24 hours. During the last principal meeting, we gave an update on Let's Talk and usage for school. We're tracking and providing that to principals and continuing to celebrate the successes and then providing support where some of the schools that aren't quite meeting where we want them to be and departments. We also, through the work of Ms. Schaefer and her team, we're looking to institute AI chat box into Let's Talk, as well as integrating our student information system to help increase the responsiveness and overall decrease time that it takes for us to get back to our customers, as well as increased customer satisfaction. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn this KPI over to Dr. Berrio.
Good afternoon. Okay, so the next KPI is decrease the percentage of days of student absences. When we looked at year one, the district average daily attendance was 91.5. Chronic absenteeism was 31.6. The goal for year two is average daily attendance to be at 93%, chronic absenteeism at 27%. Steps that we're taking to get that accomplished, implement quarterly school-by-school attendance and discipline reviews with principals, share data and best practices at monthly principal meetings, prioritize schools and provide weekly targeted support, including truancy intervention plans, parent outreach, and court preparation as necessary, and work to improve monitoring and reporting systems. So when we look at our ADA for our 3-year trend to see how we're doing this first quarter to make sure that we're on track to accomplish that goal, quarter one in 23-24, the ADA was 93.18, 24-25 was 93.45, and the 25-26, this current year, 93.65. So every year we're improving. One way that we're going to make sure that ADA is at 93% is battling chronic absenteeism. So when we look at the 3-year trend for chronic absenteeism, and this is the data that makes me smile a little bit, not that there's chronic absenteeism, but where we're headed is in 23-24 quarter one, we were at 29.83, 24-25, 24.41, and this year, 19.64. So we definitely have made a mark on that data.
Can you repeat the number again for quarter one daily attendance?
Yes, average daily attendance quarter one for the 3 years was 93.18, 93.45, 93.65.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, the next KPI has to do with percentage of days of teacher absences. So a lot of the same strategies that you heard Dr. Barrios talk about our students, we're also starting to employ with decreasing the days teachers are absent. Now certainly if a teacher is sick, just like a student is sick, we don't want them to come to school. We want them to get home and be better for themselves and for our kids. But we do every day that's feasible for them to be here and be their best selves, then we want to encourage them to do so. So year one, we are at 4.3% average absence, whereas year two, we are shooting for 3.9%. The first quarter so far to date has been 2.7%. Okay, and some of the, like I said, some of the ways that we plan to progress in this area are quarterly school-by-school data reviews. We are working on developing district-wide recognition systems as well. We have worked with human resources and community relations on a programmatic email that's going to go out to our teachers celebrating when they have had perfect attendance for the 9 weeks. We're starting there, and then we're going to look at other employee groups, but we're excited about that premise. And Dr. Shanoff is nodding his head, and I think he wants to do something special for the teachers as well, he mentioned. So,
Kind of business partner.
yeah. Okay, any questions about value driver of engagement? Okay, then I would invite to the podium Ms. Graber, Mr. Sharma, and Pete Thorne. Mr. Pete Thorne.
Dr. Allen, do you want to go over the last one? The percentage of teachers and staff members participating?
I'm going to bring Dr. Barrio back up. I apologize, Dr.
Okay.
Barrio. I skipped a KPI.
We thought you was joking, Dr. Allen. I thought that was one of your things right there.
Okay, repeat the question, please. Oh, the last KPI? Okay, thank you. Okay, so for the increasing of teachers and staff members participating in professional learning activities, year one results of participation was 88.3%. Our goal this year is 91%. strategies that we're taking to accomplish that goal, work to improve tracking and reporting systems, explore rationale for the percentage of the workforce with no record of professional learning record. Is my time up? Do I get 3 more minutes?
Okay, ready for the next group?
No, hold on,
Now
where
he's
are we
got
at
to
right
finish
now?
this one.
Did you guys have?
No, but I'm saying what's our current, okay.
Do we have data yet on the percentage of teachers and staff members participating in professional learning? Or have we not been able to capture that yet? Do you want to come up to the podium? That way we can hear you. Thanks, Janice.
Good afternoon. No, we do not have that data at this time. However, we just had our Instructional Professional Learning Day recently and our Professional Support Staff Learning Day, and our principals have received reports so that they're able to individually track the participation of teachers and of staff at those particular events. There is a little bit of lag data. Keep in mind that those are dependent on the facilitators going back into the system and closing out the courses before we know exactly how many have participated in the event. So we don't have exact information right now, but we continue to monitor that through various reports that are being made available to administrators and district leaders.
Thank you.
Janice, hold on. Thank you for waiting. My question is, do we have a set date where we could get quarter 1 results for our staff participating in professional learning activities? Do we have a date set?
So typically, the way that we configure this is we take a look at the staff that have a completed evaluation. So we usually wait until the end of the year to pull the full thing. And we match, our denominator is consistent of anyone who has an actual evaluation to tie that to, did they participate or not. So the raw numbers that we have that we are monitoring are by school site.
Okay.
So I can pull it by school site based on who's here now as a denominator, just keeping in mind that that will most likely change based on who's here, for the majority of the school year, long enough to have received an evaluation. That's who we include in our final numbers for the end of the year.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
A
I
little bit?
just,
Okay.
we've talked enough. You know how my brain works.
Yeah.
I know this is a year-long one. I just don't want us to get lost, like we're at the end of the year and we're not monitoring how close we
Right.
are to this goal. So that's why I'm asking. I'm curious to know if there's any way to communicate by end of first semester,
Right.
X amount of employees
teachers have
have done some
participated. Yeah.
professional learning activities.
We can-
So
we
we'll
can
need to
that.
pull it site by site and then
Yes.
create that numerator and denominator. Yeah,
Correct.
Okay.
We can do that.
thank you.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so now I'd like to go ahead and invite up Mr. Sharma, Ms. Graber, and Mr. Thorne.
Good afternoon. So our first KPI in this area is to increase the number of performance-based contracts. And this is really about trying to better align our expectations with vendors for the services that they're providing, and in some cases tie their compensation to meeting specific objectives that we've outlined in our contracts. So we did identify that we currently have 3 contracts in the IT area that we have performance guarantees or service level agreements built into. We're looking to expand that as we move forward. We are going to be contracting for a new student device contract, which we'll be looking to put performance guarantees into, as well as our healthcare contracts are currently being renegotiated. We've worked with our other outside independent consultant on some performance guarantees that we would like to bake into our healthcare contracts. So we're currently in negotiations on those. And then, of course, we will be embarking on the ERP contract very shortly here. So we will certainly be looking to put some performance-based metrics into the ERP contract as well. So.
Good afternoon. Want to talk about KPI number 2, decreasing the number of days of downtime for student computer repairs. That number for year 1 was 2.3 days. And to explain that number, what that means is if a child or a student turned in a device that was damaged, at that point it was taking 2.3 days for them to receive another device or to swap out. So obviously our goal is to drive that down because that is not an acceptable number. So we're going to reduce that by 10% in year 2. However, I will tell you that currently from mid-September to October 10th, that's the last time we measured this, we're at 1.1 days. So we are driving that number down. And some of the strategies we're using to do that is by moving from a purchase device methodology like we currently have now to a leasing methodology. So we had, and we've talked about this in the past, we had 7 schools last year that we went to leasing in the Poinciana area. And we have seen since that time, since March of last year, that the damage numbers have decreased dramatically. So what that means is, to us, is we don't have to swap a device out, which will be driving those numbers down, this particular KPI. So we're expanding that to 4 more schools this year. Actually, at the end of this calendar year, we'll be going to 4 additional schools, and we'll continue that process, driving these numbers down and going to a leased model. So do you have any questions about that specifically? Okay. Also, I wanted to talk about our AI implementation plan. So that's been ongoing. We've been creating that plan. I've been working with Dr. Clayton, Dr. Karzinski, and Dr. Allen building an initial implementation plan for that, and we're coming at it in 2 waves. The first wave is staff training will be occurring for AI implementation. We're a Microsoft district here, so we'll be using Microsoft Copilot as one of our tools in the district. We also use, from a curriculum point of view, Conmigo and several other systems that have AI built into them. So we're standardizing on specific platforms. Another one is Magic School AI. That's another one that some teachers are using. So we're building this implementation plan, and we're going to be getting input from across the district, parents, students, teachers, and we're starting that process right now. So year 1 will be staff training. Year 2 will be students and getting that into their hands in a bigger way. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'll cover the next 2 KPIs. Decreasing the number of days for completed work orders is something we've been working on for a while. Our last year 1 results were 16 days, and our year 2 goals 14 days. The first quarter results actually 9.4 days, so we're seeing some progress there. In terms of alignment, all of this works. I know I'm reporting something that Scott probably should have, because it's his KPI that he owns, but essentially what the facilities team does in working on the systems that are broken down or that we've identified that have significant defects and constant callbacks for work orders, we're replacing those, and so we're impacting this number by removing those from the system. So you're seeing the results already by the work that we've done over the past 2 or 3 years, and we're going to continue to do that. One of the things that we're working on, now that we know which ERP we're going to get, is identifying a new software that manages our work orders, and we're looking for a financial component to it where we can tie our budgets and see how much a particular piece of equipment is costing us to maintain over long term, so we can make better decisions in terms of repair or replacements. So that's something that we're working on with Pete's team and Scott to identify and probably implement after the ERP is on board. We're currently using it's a term spin-off, but we're using terms to manage our work orders, which we have been doing for a long time. So there is not a lot of data that we can enter or reports that we can run from it because it's built in-house. The next KPI is to negotiate and finalize our collective bargaining agreements according to within the timelines that we've set, which is the 30th of September every year. This year we were done early. We were one of a few districts that were done early. A lot of this is going to be based on what happens in the state's budget from year to year, so we're constantly monitoring that. And we're also maintaining an open dialogue with our partners, the unions and our other staff, to make sure that we are aware of what their asks are, and we're trying to mitigate a lot of those early if we can. So something that Sarah works closely on is what our budgets are going to be like, which, I mean, this year was a challenge, but I think we got it done early enough where everybody was happy. The next KPI is actually Sarah again, where we maintain our financial condition ratios.
Yeah, so this KPI is maintaining our target financial condition ratio, which is that general fund balance unrestricted percentage that we talk about. So as you know, the board has a policy rule in place that we can't go below 6%. We are targeting between 8 and 10%. So right now we're really kind of living in a world of trying to maintain 8. We did finalize last year at 8.38%. So we met that goal. But our budget for this year is slightly below that. So we know that we have work to do as we move throughout the current year to try and cut back where we can and control our expenditures even before we start moving into budgeting for the following year. There is still work to do in order for us to meet this goal for this year. And of course, the importance of this and the reason that we've set this strategic plan strategy this way is to maintain that cushion and that balance as we continue to grow, as we continue to look for new financing. That will lower our borrowing costs, keep that where we want it to be, so that we can put the majority of our available dollars back into our staff, into compensation, which is our biggest expenditure. So.
Sarah, where are we right now?
It's not something we measure like on a daily basis, but the budget that was set and adopted for this year was, I believe it was 7.88%.
Thank you.
And we set it that way intentionally to make sure we could continue to plan for what was essential, but we need to continue to readdress it.
The final KPI under alignment is to maintain schools' facility utilization rates between 75 and 95%. We're currently at 75%. Essentially what that means is how our seats are being used in schools is something that we've identified. One of the KPIs here that was related to facilities dropped off because it's something that we were able to accomplish fairly easily, which was updating our design guidelines, which resulted in a significant drop in the amount of RFIs, or requests for information, during one of our construction projects and change orders. So we've seen a significant decline in those. That's just the normal way of doing business, so we've decided to replace it with this one, which we think is going to have a pretty good impact. So quarterly, Rhonda Blake's team over at planning, they would assess all of our facilities to see every single school, to see how they're being used, to make sure they're being used the way that we intended them to. And then if it's not, we will develop a targeted plan to make sure that we can essentially balance our enrollment at those schools to make sure that our seats are used effectively. So we'll continue to work with our curriculum folks, our budget folks, to make sure that we're using the seats as designed, or at least in the most efficient and effective way. So we're pretty excited to see how this is going to work out this year. We're already looking at the areas that we need to target and start talking with principals or the areas assistant superintendents on how we make those changes. That's all we had for alignment, Mike.
Okay. On to the next value driver, community, Ms. Dana Schaefer and Dr. Peñalosa.
Good afternoon. Dr. Peñalosa and I are extremely proud of the meaningful progress being made within the community value driver of our strategic plan, which speaks to our district strengthening communication, transparency, partnerships, and trust across the district. Our first KPI is to increase community feedback by offering input sessions through a variety of forums, including face-to-face and virtual. This year's goal continues to focus on 6 key activities. Our superintendent roundtables have traditionally been held monthly. This school year, we are inviting more people and more community organizations to participate in 2 larger events with Dr. Shanoff. Our first one was held this month, and we had 60 people in attendance from 28 organizations and businesses. Individual outreach is now taking place with those attendees to establish ongoing partnerships throughout the district. Our second large roundtable will take place in February. Our superintendent student advisory group continues to meet monthly with Dr. Shanoff in order to build student voice into our input sessions. We are nearing the completion of Dr. Shanoff's fall student success talks, with 7 events out of the 10 being held to date. The first hour of each event is for employee input, and the following hour is reserved for parent input. Our Teaching, Learning, and Leading Division is continuing the regular internal and external ESE advisory group meetings, with 2 being held so far this school year. Dr. Shanoff is maintaining his faith-based advisory group, which will gather back together this November to continue discussions and the partnerships. And we are continuing to expand our virtual input opportunities through the use of thought exchange. For example, on November 1st, we will be directing our parents to a survey allowing input into the bell times for next school year to provide you input. I do want to take the opportunity to share that we are extremely excited about bringing back the school board's State of Education event, which will take place on November 5th. And we are working with Dr. Shanoff and our Career and Technical Education Department to host a Superintendent's Workforce Economic Summit, and that will take place in the spring. Our second KPI is to increase the percentage of students enrolling in SDOC schools relative to other educational options. For this one, I'll turn it over to Dr. Penaloza.
Good afternoon. So for this KPI, when we refer to SDOC schools, we are inclusive of our district-managed schools, district-operated schools, and charter schools. So as we all have heard in the news, throughout the state of Florida, there has been an increase in scholarships available to families. They come in various ways. Either it's a scholarship for a private school, or scholarship for students with disabilities, or a scholarship which is called the Personal Education Plan, which is a scholarship that goes specific to families who are choosing to homeschool their children. With that, we have looked at data across the board to include the district and the state, and we have framed our goal relative to how the scholarships are growing statewide. For that, you can already see that there has been an increase in the number of scholarships from last year, 10.9%, and the goal for this year, we've set for those families to not exceed 13.5% of our total enrollment numbers. This is a hard number to really navigate because it's all based on parental choice, but as a district, we can be proactive in ensuring that we captivate most of those families back. With that, we are full on planning for our 10th Choice Fair coming November 20th. We have been very strategic in our marketing, specific to those families that are in the PEP scholarship. So they are getting personalized mail-outs, inviting them to a choice fair so they can explore all the amazing programs that we can offer them at the district. We have also continued to work with under-enrolled schools to promote specific programs such as Chestnut with dual enrollment, with the dual language program. We collaborate with PATHS to make sure that we have a strong marketing campaign for them for this next enrollment season. And we're keeping a very close eye on our home education students. So we're pulling data from our office, really noting the families that leave to home education students, and we're communicating back to the schools what those numbers are so we can have a strong plan in place to make sure that we can capture them before they choose to leave us. So with that, we are hoping to maybe not decrease the number of scholarships, but definitely maintain what we currently have and maybe bring some of those families back to our schools.
All right, our third KPI centers on increasing the number of and participation in parent academies. To reach this goal, Student Services is teaming with schools when they have parent nights to increase in-person attendance for the training. And then also the department is partnering with Community Relations to post on-demand virtual parent trainings on YouTube and social media with Parent Square teasers to direct people to find them. In October, for example, we posted a training for parents on how to help children build emotional intelligence on YouTube, and we currently have over 1,800 on-demand views. The final KPI is focused on increasing our messaging reach via social media platforms and utilizing new platforms as appropriate. We are working daily to build engagement with our social media accounts. As compared to where we ended last school year, we are up 3% in our Facebook followers. We're up 8.7% in our Instagram followers. We're up 6% in our LinkedIn followers. We're up 3.4% in our YouTube followers. And the Parent Square launch for this school year has been tremendously successful as we have rolled out all new district and school websites and new communication platforms. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of data. In 5 months, We have reached 98% contactability for our parents, and schools are working daily to get as close to 100% as possible by ensuring information in focus is correct. To date, 76% of parents are interacting with Parent Square. 84% of parents have opted to receive emails. 95% of parents have opted to receive texts. 41% of our parents have already downloaded the Parent Square SDOC app. Messaging is going out regularly, inviting parents to download the Parent Square app so that they can set their communication preferences. Since August 1st, as a district, we have sent 32,372 posts in Parent Square. We've sent 819,342 direct messages. We've made 684 posts that have been shared out on social, and we've sent 873 smart alerts to our families. Additional activities for this KPI also include Community Relations is working with individual schools on communication reviews to provide lifts and support for communication improvement efforts with the goal of targeting 6 schools this school year. And we are implementing a new comprehensive social media plan to boost engagement. Mondays, you'll see that we feature Dr. Shanoff's weekly Marking Excellent video message to parents. Tuesdays is either a SDOC mic check or a one-take Tuesday. Wednesdays, we are highlighting in class is where it's at. They're short reels about the impact of students not being at school and promoting school attendance. Thursdays, we feature our Share Your Great videos about all the good news happening across the district. And Fridays rotate between High Five Fridays and Fun Fact Fridays, letting the community know about the progress being made as outlined in our strategic plan. So we are happy to answer any questions that you may have on the community focus area.
Can I ask you to repeat one data point for me?
Sure.
What was the direct messages in Parent Square? Just want to make sure we get all of the numbers.
Direct messages is 819,342 direct messages.
That's wild.
I was, very few things caused my jaw to hit the floor. But I think that is a great indicator of how impactful Parent Square has been. I also want to just say, for everybody's benefit, there's nothing to be gained or earned or celebrated when we hit the 1 mile or the 1 million. That direct message won't come with balloons and streamers or anything like that.
I think you should make that, well, maybe not. It should be a contest.
No.
I was like, maybe not.
I do want to say for Parent Square, the schools have done an absolute phenomenal job with the implementation and adoption. A lot of credit goes to the schools. They've done a phenomenal job.
To date, I would say that, and I certainly want to knock on wood here, but I would say the past 2 years, at this point in the year, I would have received many messages from parents and families concerned about communication and the cadence of communication. That has not happened since the adoption of Parent Square. Since we've implemented Parent Square, we are definitely on the up and up when it comes to that amount of communication that's going home. Certainly when I run into folks out in the public, they're actually very happy and grateful for Parent Square. They feel like it really personalizes the educational experience, and they kind of feel like the only one. And that's the idea, is that the end user feels like they're the only one.
We will continue to push hard for the parents to get the app, because that's really where you make it personal to you and your family. So that's our continued push.
In pivoting back really quick to just Dr. Peñalosa's KPI, I want to give Dr. Peñalosa a lot of credit, and her team a lot of credit, for, number one, the Choice Fair is by far our best attended event out of any event that we do over the course of the year. It celebrates choice, which I think falls in line with everything that we hear from Tallahassee. And I think that what the public also needs to know, especially those with family empowerment scholarships, is that we are a vendor for the family empowerment scholarships. If students want to take a course, just a course, with the school district, they can do that, and Step Up will, we will bill Step Up directly, and Step Up will pay the school district directly. So if they want to participate in a foreign language, or if they want to participate in band, or if they want to take a CTE course, or if they want to just do, if they want to do a foreign language, whatever it happens to be, they can do that, and all they need to do is just go into their local school, and we can arrange for that. Or if they want to take it through OVS, we can arrange for that as well, so then they don't need to come on campus. So those options are out there, and I commend Dr. Peñalosa and her team for making sure that we are in fact a vendor with Step Up. Not every school district is, but we are, and we were one of the first adopters for that. So congratulations to her team. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you.
Okay, next value driver is achievement, and I invite Dr. Clayton and Mr. Noble to the podium.
Good afternoon. As we know, the school district is striving to be an A district, and we know we're often measured by that ultimate label of what is our district grade, but I have to emphasize that this achievement value driver cannot be done alone. It starts with all the folks in the room here and all of these value drivers working collectively for that ultimate academic outcome. And again, that does not happen without the work that's actually happening in the school building every single day. I will report out the very, very high level, but I want to remind you of the activities that are under the value driver of academic achievement. That is the way of work that's happening every single day. So the first KPI is to increase our school grading component outcomes to include a decrease in achievement gaps, which is with the subgroups, which we look at very closely and as required. But if you look at year 1 results and year 2 results, we were oh so close to being an A, but it's sometimes nice to fall just to keep that drive going and the emphasis going to where we know that we will blast through that threshold this year with a goal of 66% A in our total school grades component point percentage. So if you compare the two charts, it's a lot of numbers there, and I won't go through every single one of them, but just for comparison's sake, the year 1 results for grade 3 ELA achievement was 55% proficient. So that is what the numbers mean, is percentage of proficiency. And then we have a goal of 58%, which is a 3 percentage point increase. So that's what the numbers in the parentheses are indicating there. So you can see we have some very audacious goals in each one of those components. And we have what is called a vision board that looks similar to this. This is our vision board. It's the same numbers you see here, but those are very, very strategic numbers based on prior year performance and prior year proficiency. And every single one of our schools have also created their own vision board. So if you look at that first section of the document that you have with you, our first next step is to align our school improvement plans and school vision boards to target specific needs and drive improvement. So we start with the district vision board, which cascades down to the individual school vision boards, which actually informs the individual school improvement plans, and it's very, very intentional based on their individual student performance from prior year. So each one of those are attainable. They are not arbitrary numbers. They actually are very strategically designed in conjunction with our REA department to look at where our students landed prior year. And then now we have PM1 results to tell us where we are so that we can compare prior year PM3 to performance, where are we starting PM1, and what is our progress point for PM2, which opens in exactly 18 days, counting today. Our PM2 assessment window opens in 18 instructional days from today, and we will compare that progress to really being very strategic, school by school, grade level by grade level, content area by content area, in comparison to those school-based vision boards. If you look at the chart that is in front of you, there is a comparison of the first light yellow column is 24-25 PM1, where we started last school year for ELA, and then 25-26 is the second column, where we started this school year in ELA. And you can see the comparison. The rows are the state performance and then how we compare as a district. And you will see in every single one of the components that we are closing the achievement gap with the state. While everybody at the state and the district had improvements year over year on PM1, you will see in grade 3, we matched with the state. For ELA, grade 4, we outpaced. Although we are behind the state, we still outpaced, so that is indicative of us starting to close the achievement gap. And you can see that follows suit all the way through each one of our grade levels in every single grade level for ELA. And then if you look in the next columns, you will see the light green columns are math comparison, PM1 from last year to PM1 this year. And again, I will remind you also that this is end of year content that students are being tested on in PM1. So you'll see a lower proficiency rate in mathematics, specifically because it is content that they have not learned yet at all. So you'll see that we have outpaced the state everywhere except for 4th grade math. And of course, we are right on top of that with strategically planning our moves and instructional updates between now and PM2, and then we're ready for the adjustments that will take place from the PM2 results to make sure that we progress more than adequately for the end of year PM3, very strategically. So that's a overview of the data chart. And then our next steps that we have established, in addition to aligning our school improvement plans with a school-based vision boards, are listed here on the one-pager as well. We said that we would establish and implement a comprehensive update regularly of our changes for the exceptional student educational services district-wide, which each of you have participated in that update for October. We are strengthening our MTSS implementation by providing training on protocols and data usage and regularly reviewing the data with the schools. And we have Michael Ballone as our director of MTSS, who is going one-on-one and training individual schools on the use of the EduClimber platform to progress monitor, input all of the students' MTSS processes to track that consistently across the district. And we are also leveraging our Renaissance platform with digital data walls that tracks all the way down to the benchmark level for each individual student, their progress on the district assessments. The next one is to improve academic data dashboard for better real-time analysis and decision-making. In addition to the EduClimber platform, we also now have a Power BI dashboard that is active for all of our school-based leaders that is tracking on a day-to-day basis the graduation and acceleration rates. So that is updating with a feed from Focus every single night. So as students get additional credentials and meet those criteria, we will have that updating. And we do look at that regularly already now, but starting in the second semester, it will be more frequently reported out, and then in the last 2 months of school, it is almost a daily update that the principals engage with. The Power BI lowest 30% data dashboard has been developed in the background, and it's ready to be released. It has not been released yet because the last few items have been fine-tuned, but this is specifically for schools to easily track their lowest 30% students that are in that grading component for that bucket, so that, and that is also being updated with the Focus platform so that we have the proper enrollment, which students are counting and not counting in that lowest 30%, so we can be very strategic that way, automated, instead of on a individual spreadsheet, school by school, and doing that by hand, so, or a static spreadsheet, I should say. And then I also already talked about the digital data walls. And then additionally, we said we would identify assessment trends and deliver content-specific test-taking strategy sessions for teachers and students. It's, we now have the fast released tests available, so we've embedded those as part of our practice now that we have those available in our professional learning charge-up sessions by content area. We have that embedded in our leadership sessions, and that is now just a common practice to make sure that all of our teachers know and understand what the question types are. What does EBSR mean? I had that question asked of me by a third grade teacher who's been teaching for a while, and I had to remind her that's an evidence-based short response. Oh, do we have access to this? Yes, let me show you where, and we are working through our coaches and the charge-up sessions to make sure that every single teacher has the knowledge to be able to utilize that resource to be able to make sure that their students are exposed to even practicing the question types. We also have our school, city, district unit assessments that have mirrored question types that look just like it will look on the platform. We hear a lot of feedback from teachers. Why can't we do these tests paper, pencil? Well, we want you to do all the teaching and learning and practice paper, pencil, but we also have to prepare our students because the state requires us to test digitally, so we want them to be fully prepared to test digitally with, so our online platform has the mirrored test questions that perform in the same way as it would in the formal setting. And then professional learning will be used to practice content-specific state testing question types. We're not teaching to the test, but we would be remiss if we didn't expose our students to what the test looks like, acts like, feels like, so that they're fully prepared. Moving along to the next KPI, we want to decrease the percentage of teacher vacancies. Now, this is an HR KPI. This is a cross-functional example of an HR KPI, but it's so important for us to have high-quality instructors in front of our students to be able to get those academic outcomes. So that's why that one is here in achievement, to have high-quality teachers in front of our students. So we have traditional and non-traditional approaches happening right now for recruitment plan. And there are, we are engaged with Impact Florida. Our HR team is engaged with a cohort with a cadre from across the state for focusing on some of those traditional and non-traditional strategies for recruitment and retention. And to continue our collaboration with Florida colleges, a recent example for growing our teacher pipeline is that we have 10 paraprofessionals that are currently enrolled in Rollins College with a highly discounted tuition opportunity to become teachers right here through Rollins College. Our year one results for teacher vacancies, we started the year at 2.1% of our classrooms with vacancies, and this year we started at 1.9% of our classrooms with vacancies, which turn into long-term sub-coverages, or a classroom or a school-based coach covering classrooms or supporting those classrooms. So the end of year goal is to stay within that 2% measure. The next KPI is to increase graduation rate in district-operated schools. And district-operated schools means the non-charter schools. So we're looking here at separating out, if you look in the chart above at the top of the page, in our year 2 goal, it shows that graduation, there's a parentheses there, it says all schools. That does include our charter schools as well. This particular KPI is taking them out. It's what we have district local control over. So last year, or 2 years ago, our goal was, our results were 90%. Last year's results were 91.7%, and our goal this year is 93%. So we'll continue with all the actions that we already have in place for that. And then our next KPI is to increase the number of students experiencing college and career activities. That's our Zello platform. And our year 1 results was at 86%. Our year 2 goal is 89% for pre-K through 12-year-olds engaging in those career activities on our Zello platform. The next KPI is to increase the number of seniors graduating with a confirmed SDOC 4E plan, and that is our district-controlled high schools. And so those are our post-secondary plans. The 4E plan, I will remind you, is they either have to sign on the dotted line when they walk across the stage that they have said that they are either enrolling in a post-secondary opportunity, they are enlisting, they are being employed, or they will explore another opportunity that qualifies under exploring other than sitting on mom's couch. And so our year 1 results.
I'm so proud of you, Dr. King.
Aren't
You
you?
getting them 4 E's, and you used the mama couch reference too.
Did. Okay, and so our year 1 result was 91.9, and year 2 is 93%. Leadership, it just rolls right down from the top, sir. All right, so increase the proficiency of first-time test takers for the 10th grade ELA and Algebra 1, and of course exams. That is obvious that we are not counting in this measure the retake results. 2 years ago, our results were 47% in algebra and 49% in ELA grade 10. After year 1, we had a 10% increase with a 10 percentage point increase with 57% in both algebra, and then an 8 percentage point increase for grade 10 math. And then our year 2 goal right now is 60% in each of those buckets. Are there any questions?
I don't think so at this time.
Thank you.
Very thorough.
Thank you. All right, final value driver of culture. I invite Dr. Carol Green and Mr. Pete Thorne to the podium.
Good afternoon, Board, Superintendent Shanoff. Before I start with the culture value driver KPIs, I just wanted to go back and follow up on a couple of things that were said by the others. As Dr. Clayton mentioned, there are tremendous HR components built within each of the value drivers of the plan. So for example, when Dr. Allen was talking about decreasing the number of teacher absences, and he talked about we're going to look at perfect attendance for teachers. Well, we can't come up with a final data point today because the last payroll for the first quarter hasn't run yet, but we did a preliminary test and we have approximately, not final, prior to the last payroll, almost 900 teachers that had perfect attendance for this quarter.
How many?
So
Say that again.
almost 900
900.
prior to the last payroll being run. So it could drop, but out of our 4,000 teachers, that's pretty close to 20-some%. So that was a really good piece of data that we were able to pull just today. Mr. Sharma had mentioned within the alignment about the negotiating timelines and getting those things done. And I just wanted to give kudos to our chief negotiators, John Boyd for OCEA Instructional ESP, and Scott Noble for Teamsters, as well as the collaborative relationship that they have with the union leaders, because that's really important, and their knowledge and expertise with working with those units. So I think that's important. And then within community, Ms. Schaefer mentioned the increasing the messaging and the social media and using new platforms. And within HR, we are really focused on that related to recruiting and finding applicants for our positions. And we are really working with communications in order to reach that wider audience and get our name out there across not only the region but the nation. Unfortunately, I did read today a statistic that throughout the nation, there was a third enrollment decrease in our colleges of education across the nation for applicants enrolling as freshmen. So it's going to become harder, but we're going to keep working and bring those people in here. And then lastly, within achievement, Dr. Clayton talked about decreasing the percentage of teacher vacancies and the new things that we're doing within the 25-26 recruiting plan. And I just wanted to share a couple of things from our teams that, first of all, we have a job fair tomorrow afternoon from, I think, 4 to 7 at Elko. We have 56 people lined up for that job fair that have been qualified and are available for hiring immediately into the classroom. So we have people that are coming and doing interviews, and the last time we did this was a couple of weeks ago, and we had people being offered on the spot. So we're making progress. We have an incentive program that I've talked about when I do communications with you, and we've had so far this year 23 of our employees across the district who have earned the incentive for recommending people to come into our district who have made it through their period of time where they earn that incentive. And then we have re-engaged with EPI, which is the group or organization that provides our international teachers, and so we have some starting in January. So those are some things throughout the value drivers that are not culture, but related to culture. And Mr. Thorne has a lot to do with this because there's a lot of data that we utilize for his group. A little. So one of the things that we've provided over the last several years, and the first KPI, is the percentage of students in co-curricular and extracurricular activities. And you have seen athletics and co-curricular for the most part over the last several years. And knowing that participation in school activities improves the culture of the student body and the culture of the school itself, our goal is always to be increasing. This year, we're going to be providing some additional baseline data, which has to do with extracurricular activities. We're going to start with the supplements that are built into our contracts where we pay our staff to run clubs and organizations. We're going to use that as baseline data and pull numbers from those students who are participating in those extracurricular activities, both at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, and then we'll use that to measure growth in the years to come, along with the the co-curricular activities and the athletics. Another one of our KPIs is this satisfaction surveys that we have with our parent, student, and staff. The goal is twofold. One is to increase participation and respondent numbers for those that provide feedback across each of those three groups. And the second is to increase the satisfaction with what we're doing in our schools and in our district. Related to the parent and student survey, we're using the same platforms, hoping to get a greater response rate and to increase the satisfaction. But related to the staff feedback, we did not have very good response rates last year, and so we're looking at changing the platform where I think we'll get a greater response rate by our staff, and we'll be able to disaggregate the data a little better across the district. So we are using a platform called Smart Sheets, and it's an easier platform to maneuver, and it sends reminders, and hopefully we'll get a greater response rate.
Allows the data to come out easier.
Yes. And a new KPI that was added was expanding our healthcare center opportunities for our staff. So again, that's twofold. One is to decrease the geographical distance from the locations across the district, and another is wait time. And so we'll be working hard this year to stand up those centers to be ready to, in two of our areas, to be ready to open up at the beginning of next school year. So that's the culture role.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Carol, you mentioned with the feedback survey, we're switching the platform, and Pete, correct me if I'm wrong, that platform we're switching has to deal with our staff, not necessarily our parents. So then as you were saying that, my other question was, do we think maybe we would have a better response rate this year if we push that survey out through Parent Square? And could we push it out through Parent Square since we have such engagement through Parent Square?
So it needs to stay anonymized also?
Okay.
So I think that's part of it.
Use the microphone.
No, yeah, use the microphone.
Yeah, it needs to stay anonymized, so I think we're looking for like a separate platform to do that instead of Parent Square, but we can explore that, as long as we make sure those parameters are correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
so much.
I'm going to bring us in for a landing. First of all, I want to thank our leads, our sub-leads. One thing that I thought about just listening to all the work that's being done and who's presenting that work, and especially Dr. Green, kind of going back and specifically highlighting how kind of HR weaves itself through the entire plan. The team doesn't know this yet, but the next go-round will involve the sub-leads actually doing the report out. So I think we should start selling tickets for watching Scott Noble go over the achievement. It'll bring you back to your roots, Mr. Noble, while Dr. Clayton elbows you details throughout. I'm really proud of the work that's being done across our district. You know, I met with an employee this morning, a custodian, met with a custodian this morning who has actually worked in several different facets of our organization. And because they have the expertise of having worked in different departments, happens to work in custodial right now at one of our schools, is definitely in a unique place to be able to talk through a lot of the work that's currently being done. We're asking people to, in many cases, to take a leap of faith in what we're trying to do as a district. You know, it's very difficult to break through, to go from good to great. And we really have this desire to ensure that the rest of the world and our community, more importantly, sees how great the work that's taking place in our schools and in our departments every single day, how great that work is. How much of a differentiator it is to be a part of this district, be a part of this organization. And so a lot of times I'm tasked with, you know, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? It's not something that we've done before. We've been successful other ways. All of that is true. But at the end of the day, and this is what I was able to kind of talk through with the individual this morning, and they get it, which is fantastic. They see it and they're excited about it. We are asking people to do things differently. And with that, we have to be in a position to provide a little bit of grace and also understanding that the expectation has been brought from here to here, but we want to do it with support, and we want to do it the right way, in a way that's sustainable. The idea is that once the school district gets to an A, there's no turning back. There's no turning back. So we have to be able to get ourselves positioned at this moment in time with the team that we have to break through and get across the finish line. This plan, when fully executed, will get us across that finish line. And then everybody will be able to share that greatness together. The idea that all 8,000 are represented by that greatness. I know it exists here. We all know it exists here. Soon, everybody will find out what exists here in Osceola County. And this will become a destination for people to be moving to because of the great opportunities that are available to their kids, but also to them as potential employees in our district. So I'm super excited about what we're doing this year. It's a heavy lift, but it's a lift of love. And I really, really appreciate all the folks in the room and the board for their support. Thank you.